The following is a product of Studio 42.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is football time in Texas.
From Studio 42 on HoweEnterprise.com, this is Howe Bulldogs football.
The monkey is off the back. All toes are on the ground. 22 stops in 22.
Howe Bulldogs football is brought to you by Scoggins Funeral Home, Baker Air Conditioning and Heating, Independent Financial, GCEC, Sonic of Howe.
And Rattler just barrels over a defender and goes Superman at the 32-yard line.
Also brought to you by Michelle Castle, Guild Mortgage, Atmos Energy, Corey Hernandez, State Farm, Rapid Electric, Brother Plumber, Attorney Micah Belden.
Been caught in the middle of the end zone in the back corner. It's Cooper Jones, and it's touchdown time in Texas.
Also brought to you by Howe Athletic Booster Club, Linda Hamill Insurance, Michelle Carney Photography, Kit Exteriors LLC, TechWave, Night Furniture, Bullard Construction.
And Howe says they have the football. Howe has the football.
Also brought to you by All In Custom Gutters and Christmas Lights, Texella Land and Home Realty Team, Goodfellas Barbershop, Don Smokehouse.
Haley's going to keep it up the middle. He's in. It's touchdown time in Texas. Austin Haley, who usually does it with his arm, does it with his feet.
Now let's open the Rapid Electric tailgate party and join the voice of the Howe Bulldogs, Monty Walker.
The Howe Bulldogs are coming off their first loss of the season, where Howe turned the ball over 5 times, but still managed 42 points. But non-district is for cleaning up mistakes. No gold footballs are awarded in September. Howe will face its very first ever opponent tonight, the Tioga Bulldogs. Howe has won 11 straight over Tioga, but King Charles III was born the last time the two teams faced each other. Who will win the Battle of the Bulldogs? We're about to find out. It's Howe versus Tioga, and the eyes of Texas are watching this contest.
You're listening to the Rapid Electric tailgate party.
Here's some things to never mess with if you're not a trained professional. Caging a bulldog. Removing copperheads. And electricity. Don't get shocked. Call Rapid Electric. Rapid Electric is here for all your electrical needs. Just like you wouldn't try to become a pro boxer or president. Not a joke. You need a pro to keep your electricity humming. Don't get shocked. Rapid Electric serves the Grayson County area. Call them at 903-421-8100.
I'm attorney Micah Belden, an old-school black and white Howe Bulldog. In criminal defense, you need someone who fights like a bulldog. Call me now if you've been investigated, arrested, or charged with a crime in North Texas. My number is 903-744-4252. We'll set up a free consultation. You will find out that I'm rough, tough, and I can't get enough. I'm board certified in criminal law by the Texas Board of Legal Specialization, Principal Office, Sherman, Texas. Visit my website at shermancriminallawyer.com.
You're listening to the Rapid Electric tailgate party. Let's join Monty Walker with this week's Senior Spotlight. The Senior Spotlight is brought to you by Scoggins Funeral Home.
This week's Senior Spotlight is Antwone Rattler, senior running back. Antwone, do you have a favorite teacher in high school?
Yes, my favorite teacher would be Miss Nell, English teacher.
What is it about Miss Nell that you like?
She's nice, always asks us if we need help, she cares.
Do you have a favorite coach?
Coach Forsythe would be my favorite coach.
What is it about Coach Forsythe that you like?
How he shows how he cares about us is nice.
Coach Bryan says if there was an off-season award, you might have won that with your improvement. How much work did you put in during the off-season?
I put in pretty much work. I feel like I gained a lot, how much improvement I put in during off-season.
He said you added like 400 pounds, overall. That's huge.
Yeah.
So your role has changed a little bit since last year. I mean, you're toting the rock. You're getting a lot of carries and some big runs. Do you like that workload?
Yes, sir. I'm doing so much better than last year.
Homecoming can be a coach's worst nightmare. All he wants to do is win. There's so much going on this week, from parades to dances and pep rallies and all that stuff. What has been his message this week to the team?
Same as always, just be careful, focus on what we're being taught, pay attention.
Overall, this team is much improved over a year ago. How good can this team be?
It could be really good as long as we try.
And Tioga is the opponent. How do you see this thing turning out?
I think we have a chance of winning.
The Senior Spotlight is brought to you by Scoggins Funeral Home. You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party.
Since 2011, Scoggins Funeral Home and Crematory has walked with hundreds of families through the most overwhelming time of their lives. Their job is simple: to make this season a little easier. What you can expect is a no-pressure, people-first philosophy, custom services for memorials that you'll remember forever, and reasonable pricing. Tommy and Bobby K. Scoggins have built a reputation over the past 30 years in the funeral business for making every family feel at home. Visit ScogginsFuneralHome.com or call 903-482-5225.
You might know that State Farm agent Corey Hernandez has great service. Corey is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates too? That's right. State Farm agent Corey Hernandez is here to help you select the right protection at the right price. Corey will make sure you understand your State Farm coverages so you'll know what to expect if the unexpected happens. Call State Farm agent Corey Hernandez at 903-893-8400 or visit insurancequotetexoma.com. When you want the real deal, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party. Let's join Blake the Blizzard Burnett for today's District 8 3A Division II Roundup. Roundup is brought to you by Don's Smokehouse.
Howdy, folks. Welcome to the District 8 3A Division II District Roundup. The district was well represented last week in non-district play, going 4-2. Blue Ridge, Gunner, Bales, and Leonard all won, while Howe and Lono did not win. Tonight we will start with Gunner. They beat Addison Trinity Christian 41-0. Tonight they will have a huge non-district game with 3A Division I powerhouse Brock. Gunner will make the travel out to Brock for the contest. Last year Brock was the runner-up in 3A Division I and Gunner was the runner-up in 3A Division II, and they are both ranked in the top 5 this season. Brock is 0-3 on the season, but it played some really good 4A schools close in the first 3 weeks of the season. Last week, Brock lost to Wimberley 32-23. We'll go to Bales now, as they had a matchup with Parrish Chisholm, and there was a lot of running going on in that game since both teams are part of the slot team mafia. Bales won 48-7. Tonight, Bales will travel to Pilot Point for their game. Pilot Point is coming off a loss to Farmersville 21-18. Last Friday, Leonard had another exciting game with a comeback win over Hughes Springs, 25-22. Second straight week with a comeback win for the Tigers. Tonight they will be traveling to Trenton for their game. Trenton is 2-1 on the season, and last Friday beat Detroit 49-18. Blue Ridge is finally finding their groove by beating a 4A Division II school in Willis Point last Friday, 66-12. They do have a bad record of 1-2 through the first 3 weeks of the season, but they have hit their stride on offense. Back-to-back weeks for Blue Ridge scoring over 50 points. Tonight, Blue Ridge will play Wolf City. Wolf City is coming off a loss to Celeste, 38-24. Howe, the Bulldogs, had a very sloppy game last Friday, where they still had a shot early in the fourth quarter, but the 5 turnovers they could not overcome in that one, and a 59-42 loss to Commerce. Howe will host Tioga tonight in a big-time matchup of 2-1 teams. Tioga is averaging 40 points a game and just beat Valley View 42-39 last week. It is homecoming tonight in Howe. It should be a great game. Lone Oak, they have been struggling to start the season, 0-3, and last week lost to Cooper 73-18. And this week they will have a home game against Tyler Grace Community, who is 3-0 on the season. That's all for the district roundup. Everyone stay safe in the game tonight, and everyone have safe travels to and from the games back home. Good luck in the district, everybody, and adios.
Today's District 8 3A Division II Roundup is brought to you by Don's Smokehouse.
Don's Smokehouse is located in downtown Howe and is a full-service butcher shop.
You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party.
At Grayson Cullen Electric Cooperative, GCEC, we have been around for over 80 years and are governed by 7 principles: open and voluntary membership, democratic member control, members' economic participation, autonomy and independence, education, training, and information, cooperation among cooperatives, and concern for community. One of our communities is Howe, Texas, and GCEC is proud to support the Howe Bulldogs.
This is Michelle Castle with Guild Mortgage, welcoming you to Howe Bulldogs football. Guild has been delivering on the promise of home to hundreds of thousands of people just like you for over 60 years. With a big heart and a desire to serve, we're committed to making life better in our communities. This is where we live, and we're committed to building it with you.
Guild Mortgage Company, Equal Housing Opportunity Company, NMLS number 3274. Michelle Castle, NMLS number 231122. Branch address 714 North Travis Street, Sherman, Texas 75090. All loans subject to underwriter approval. Terms and conditions apply. Subject to change without notice.
You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party. Welcome to the Linda Hamill Insurance Coaches Corner. Now let's join Monty Walker with Howe Bulldogs head coach Lance Bryan.
Coach, Commerce was the most physical and probably the biggest team you faced so far this season. Turnovers led to a deficit early. You couldn't dig out of that hole.
You know, we didn't get off to the start we wanted. You know, they got that quick score on their first drive, and you know, we put the ball on the ground a couple times, and you know, that start was definitely not something, you know, that was kind of a nightmare beginning first of the game, the first 3 minutes or so. You know, but the biggest thing that we preach to the kids a lot is play hard no matter what. You know, you can't get back in the game, you know, all in one play. Like, you just have to fight one play at a time. And you know, even though some things didn't go our way, I thought our kids kept fighting, you know, every play, trying to, you know, scratch and claw and get back into it. And I thought they did a good job doing that.
And the offense kept giving the defense, or kept putting the defense back out on the field, and I thought they responded pretty well, especially Bryce Crosby had a great game.
You know, we talk a lot, you know, defensive mindset. It doesn't matter where the defense takes the field. Their job is to get the offensive ball back as fast as they can. And so it doesn't matter if it's a turnover or offense just scored, it makes no difference. And so that's the mentality that we take on defense. You know, Bryce, we really challenged Bryce this week a lot. You know, he played a really good game week 1, and he played well week 2, but we thought he could play better. And so we challenged him a lot, you know, cleaning up some fundamentals and some things like that. And he's a great athlete. And so if he gets going in the right direction, he's going to make a lot of plays. And so he showed that Friday night. He had, you know, a monster game. I think he had double-digit tackles and a few sacks and quite a few big plays. They weren't just tackles. They were big tackles for loss. And so, you know, he's a great player, and he's capable of doing that pretty often.
So I don't want to jinx anything, but your sophomore kicker is perfect so far this year. And that was a recruiting the hallways situation by you. That just an outstanding job.
Well, when I first got here, I saw, you know, I knew that the kicker had graduated, and you know, there wasn't really a true kicker on the roster. There were some kids that could kick the ball, but I think there's a huge benefit to having a soccer style kicker. It just opens a lot more doors to things you can do. And when I first came, I went into all the PE classes to see if there was some football kids that needed to be in football that were in there. And I saw this guy just wheeling and dealing on playing soccer and just mopping the floor with all the kids in there. And so I went and got a ball out of the PE bin and just put it down. I said, hey, just try to kick it as high as you can. Try to hit that spot right there on the wall, and kicked it. And then we had a long conversation about, you know, trying out kicking and things like that. And he was open-minded, and he joined athletics and got in the weight room, started getting around the guys. And, you know, the kids they kind of gravitated towards him and kind of all took him under his wing. And you know, whenever we started camp, you know, we had a conversation. He's like, I just want to be a kicker. And I was like, that's totally fine with me. Like, that's all you got to do. And, you know, he does a great job. You know, kickers during practice, there's not a whole lot for them to do during a lot of the practice, but he sets up his tee, and Trey Alsobrook, our manager, kind of helps him out, and he'll kick 100 kicks in practice. And so whether it's kickoffs or, you know, or through the uprights, he does it all. And so he's pretty dedicated to getting good at this. And, you know, I think the results are showing.
And now you got a kicker for 3 years.
That definitely helps. When he told me he was a sophomore, it definitely made me even more interested in him. But, you know, even if he were a senior, you know, the way he's kicked so far, he's kicking like he's a senior. And we have a lot of confidence in him. And, you know, the kids believe in him. And I think his confidence is growing, you know, bigger and bigger by the day. That's a high pressure, you know, situation as a kicker. I think if you watch NFL and college, you see a lot of games are won and lost by a kick late in a game, or a missed extra point. Like, makes a difference in a lot of games. And, you know, we're definitely blessed to have him back there doing that job for us.
Well, speaking of points, offensively, you know, you turn the ball over 5 times. Never heard of a team turning the ball over 5 times and still scoring 42 points. You're scoring 37 per game. It's early, but no Howe team has ever scored 37 a game.
We knew going in that our offense was going to be explosive, and they threw the ball really well last year, and they gained a lot of yards last year, and they did a lot of good things. They didn't punch it in as much as they would like, and Coach Cater and I talked a lot about that. Once you get inside the red zone, those passing lanes they get a lot slimmer. It's hard to find those lanes, and so we really concentrated on improving our running game, and we put a lot of emphasis on that. I think that gives us a better balance. We've actually ran for a little bit more yards than we've thrown for at this point in the season. And, we like to think that we're a balanced attack, but balance doesn't necessarily mean that we do one run for every one pass. It just means that we're going to take what the defense gives us, and we think that we can do both. And, we try to not let people know exactly what we're going to do week by week.
We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll be back in 30 seconds.
Hi, this is Matt Linder with Linda Hamill Insurance. Your home field is where everything happens. And I'm not talking about Bulldog Stadium. We're talking about your home, your car, and your life. For over 30 years, we've been offering bundle discounts on home, auto, and life. We offer Germania and Progressive insurance protection, as well as many others to suit your needs. Call us today at 903-965-4098 or come by and see us at 106 North Broadway in Bells, Texas. That's 903-965-4098.
Okay, Coach, this is the week that head coaches typically despise. Not only is it homecoming week, but Howe has their sesquicentennial, so there's parades, there's dances, there's all the homecoming festivities. How do you keep your kids focused for the game?
All of those festivities, even though they can be a distraction, those are the things that make high school football exactly what it is all the pageantry and all the extra. And so, I embrace that. I think that stuff's fun. I was at the parade yesterday, and I actually bounced between 3 different spots so I could kind of keep an eye on my kids and make sure they were, throwing the candy underhand and not overhand at the kids and stuff. But, we talked a lot about, on our meeting on Monday, we talked a lot, all that stuff is all fun, but ultimately the only thing that matters is that we're supposed to go out and win the game. And so we talked a lot about, a lot of people's jobs are to do a lot of the festivities and stuff like that, but the football team's job is to play football. And so all the other stuff is secondary to that for them. And so we've just preached that over and over again all week.
Well, your opponent is Tioga. They're really strong up front. Their offensive line, big and powerful. I think they're kind of built around their offensive line. Talk about them and what you expect to see.
They were a playoff team last year, and they brought a lot of pieces back, so I knew they were going to be a tough test. And, their offensive line is definitely very, very big and physical. And they like to run the ball between the tackles, and, they get vertical now. They're not going to juke and do a lot of that. They're going to run right at you and force you to, take good angles and run your feet on contact. And, we've obviously emphasized tackling a lot this week because, they've got some physical backs that are pretty fast, but really their biggest thing is they're trying to run right at you and get behind those offensive linemen and do some damage. And so, definitely stopping their rushing attack is going to be, a big key for us.
Matt Stepp, the godfather of Texas high school football, is going to be in town. From Dave Campbell's, he'll be on the sidelines. Garrett Faison will be shooting video for this game also. This game's getting a lot of attention, and I think your team's starting to get a lot of attention too.
You start winning some games, and you score a lot of points, and you have some good performances, and people tend to take notice. And I think that's kind of what's happening. And Matt Stepp's obviously a big deal in the Texas high school sports media. And so whenever I found out he was coming to the game, that was obviously a really cool thing for to get our team out there and get our guys a little bit extra publicity. But again, we got to win the game because all that publicity is not going to be any good if we go out and lay an egg. But it is really cool that they're going to be there and shine a spotlight on this matchup, and because I think it is a good matchup. I think it's two up and coming teams. Tioga got it rolling last year. We're trying to get it rolling this year, and so I think both of our towns and both of our teams have a lot to be proud of in the football program, and I'm happy that we get to show that to the state.
Today's Coach's Corner has been brought to you by Linda Hamill Insurance. You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party.
Hi, this is Matt Linder with Linda Hamill Insurance. Your home field is where everything happens. And I'm not talking about Bulldog Stadium. We're talking about your home, your car, and your life. For over 30 years, we've been offering bundle discounts on home, auto, and life. We offer Germania and Progressive insurance protection, as well as many others to suit your needs. Call us today at 935-4098 or come by and see us at 106 North Broadway in Bells, Texas. That's 903-965-4098.
Who's your local plumber? Brother Plumber. It's good to know someone local and someone you can trust when your home or office drops the ball.
Mainline break, 15 yards.
Brother Plumber is plumb professional and serves not only Howe, but also all of Grayson County. And you can save yourself 10% if you mention Go Bulldogs. Visit us online at brotherplumber.com. We'd love to help. Brother Plumber is one call away at 469-968-4487. Visit us online at brotherplumber.com. Remember, Go Bulldogs.
You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party. Let's join Monty Walker in the opposite corner with tonight's opposing head coach. The opposite corner is brought to you by Michelle Carney Photography.
Visiting with Tioga head coach Chad Rogers. Coach, people know you throughout Texoma. You were the head coach of the Denison Yellow Jackets for 9 seasons. You took a program that had gone 5-15 2 years before your arrival there. You turned them around with a winning record during your time there. How proud are you of what you accomplished there in Denison?
You know, that's a great question. I'm extremely proud of the relationships that we built in Denison with the coaching staff that I got to work with. Several of those came with me from Snyder, and we were able to hire a lot of local guys that were giving back to their community. And, Denison's a very proud community. They love their football, and it's an exciting place to live and to work. And, I'm just proud probably of the relationships that I was able to have there with people in the community. So, and just a sense of pride that you learn about Texoma from Denison and throughout Texoma.
You mentioned Snyder. You've been at this a long time. You were the head coach there and led them to a 96-40 record. What made Snyder special?
Well, it was the kids. Snyder's an oil field community. It's it ebbs and flows with the oil field and the way it goes. Those kids are just tough kids, and we sold them on that. And probably the reason we were so successful was their belief in their coaches. That those young men in that community just believed in it. We didn't have any. We had one varsity coach leave in 11 years there. So that's important. The stability of that community, and it just seemed like things got better and better, and we got tougher. And football's a tough sport. You just got to get tough, and you got to play hard. And, it's just, and the relationships that we still have there. We're in the relationship business. We're in the kid business.
Going from larger schools, a lot of people's eyebrows were raised when you left Denison for Tioga. What was it about Tioga that turned your head?
Well, I had never done it before, and like you said, a couple of times I've been doing it a while. I'm not done yet, but it was a time to do something different, to change, and we love this area. We our first plan was to stay in Denison and drive back and forth, but we bought a house in Tioga, and we're all in. So it's a growing community. It's a unique thing, and I think as long as you're growing as a coach and you continue to learn, and you don't get stagnant, then you're going to stay in the business. So it's new for me. 2A is I've never been in 2A. My career's kind of went from a larger school back down to a smaller school, and in COVID, when we had COVID, my son was coaching in Snook, which is a 2A school, and because we started, a month later, we were able to go down and watch him coach. And my wife, Leanne, she said, "Why haven't we ever coached in a school this size?" And I said, "I don't know." I said, "We will." And the look that she gave me was that look that when you go to check the expiration date on the milk in the refrigerator, was my expiration date was starting to maybe expire. So I thought, and then a week later, or after the season was over, our season was over, this job was open. So we just check into it, and it's been a godsend. It's just been good for us. We're able to. My son's on the staff. My son-in-law's on the staff. And honestly, there's 4 kids from Denison that's on our staff working with us. So 90% of the kids that are on our staff I've coached before, which is either at Snyder or Denison. So I haven't moved around a lot in a long. I've only been in 4 schools in 34 years. So.
Broadcasting games for 29 years, we tend to cross paths. And I was able to broadcast a couple of your games, your first 2 years at Denison, because longtime Denison radio voice Lynn Burkhead, and probably the biggest Yellow Jacket fan there is, he had to miss. Do you still get to visit with Lynn ever so often?
I do. Usually about once a week we text or communicate. He's come over a couple times. We went out to eat barbecue in Tioga. So, like you said, Lynn's a Yellow Jacket. He bleeds black and gold. I mean, that's just what he is. And you want to know what happened, what play we ran my second game of my third year there? He can tell you probably the down in the distance it was and how far it went. You know, he just loves the Yellow Jackets, and that's what you get. You know, you get fans like that are so bought into the traditions, and the unique thing that I've gone to is I went to a school, you know, coming from a school that's played football for 120 years almost 130 years, to a school that hadn't played for 11-man football, but for the last 5 years. So, you know, that's a unique thing that you go into the longest running rivalry in the state of Texas to the one we have in Collinsville has got to be one of the shortest because we've only played it 3 times. So, you know, I think that's keeping me learning. You know, and as long as you keep growing, you're going to keep learning. So,
now, your team in Tioga looks pretty good. I mean, from the outside in, it looks like your offensive line is the carrying force behind your team. Is that fair to say?
I think so. You know, majority of them are back from last year. Majority of them were here. Were starting before. They've gotten tougher. You know, and that's what. You know, O-line is a unique, you know, I'm glad you brought this up because I don't think they get enough talked about them, is that, you know, they're built to serve. You know, they're the only ones that spend the whole game not getting to see what's going on. They got to keep their back to the ball. You know, they just hear the crowd. You know, it's a very selfless position. You can't be a selfish offensive lineman and be successful. So, you know, I love talking about O-line, you know, and I've had several coaches say they wish their daughters would marry O-linemen just because they're built to serve and they take care of people. So, you know, and that's important. It's a very important position. So the better we are at the O-line, the better we are at better we're going to move the ball. So and you know we're beat up a little bit. We've lost a quarterback, we've lost a running back, and consistency's been the O-line. But I appreciate you saying that. Our kids are working hard. We're trying to get better and better every day.
Must be a pretty big game. For whatever reason, the godfather of Texas high school football is in town. Matt Stepp will be at Bulldog Stadium. Did you have any pull in that?
No, I don't think anybody tells Matt Stepp what to do. He does usually try to catch one of my games a year. Matt and I have been friends for a long time, since I got the head coaching job in Snyder. We just kind of struck up a friendship. He ran a 3A download board, and he was an Everman graduate, and we always thought we would match up with Everman, and he's just been a great resource for me, and we struck up a friendship, and we stayed close. He's helped me run some 7-on-7s when I was out at Snyder events, and you know, him and Carl Padilla both are really good for my family, and they've always kind of just taken care of us as far as just when we're in town, we usually try to see each other. So it's great publicity for our area, and it's great publicity for these two programs for sure.
Last question, Coach. What kind of game do you think we'll see tonight between Tioga and Howe?
Well, you know, Coach Bryan's done an outstanding job. I to be honest, was not very familiar with Howe beforehand. I started calling around looking for games. I know eventually if we keep growing, we're going to be 3A, so I needed to start playing some 3A schools, and we have a large JV. That way we could make sure we got our JV games and our junior high games. We got 47, almost 50 kids out for junior high football. So our numbers are growing. So eventually we're going to be 3A. So we need to start playing larger schools. And so that's where that kind of started. Coach Bryan got the job, and we talked several times. He's done an outstanding job. You can tell on film. Now, I didn't see him in years past. I just saw him off of this year, but you can tell that they're well coached. They're big. They spent some time in the weight room, and you could tell that. We're gonna have to execute our game plan. We got to get tougher, and and our goal is always to get better every game before district, because like I tell them all the time, you don't get a gold football for winning a non-district game. So the main thing we got to do is we got to get better. I think you're going to see a really good football game. We're going to have to get physical, because they seem to be getting better and better as it goes on. We're going to have to do some things right, and in the kicking game, usually is a break in a close game. It was last week when we beat Valley View. We made our extra points and they missed them. So, in a close ball game. So I think that's important. But, you've been doing it a while too, and it sounds like a cliche, but it's going to come down to a team that blocks and tackles the best. I think you're going to see an exciting football game. I think it's getting a lot of publicity from all Tex Homer, and that's just because of, Coach Bryan and his staff and how well they're doing things and how.
The Opposite Corner is brought to you by Michelle Carney Photography. You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party.
Independent Financial is proud to support Howe ISD and their hardworking students, teachers, and staff. We share your vision for a brighter tomorrow and a championship season. For every challenge, Independent Financial has you covered. Our team can suggest a wide range of financial products to make your personal banking fast and easy. Plus, we have the know-how to deliver the game-changing business banking solutions. Independent Financial, your community in your corner. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey, it's me, Gus the Gopher for Atmos Energy. I dig all around the yard. Occasionally, I bump into a utility line and get a headache. But if you hit one with your shovel, backhoe, or ditch digger, you could cause a gas leak, disrupt service, or worse. So call 811 at least 3 business days before you or someone else digs in your yard to have those underground utility-owned lines marked. It's free and it's the law. You dig what I'm saying? For more on safe digging, visit atmosenergy.com/811.
We have a very special guest during the Howe Bulldogs tailgate party, the godfather of Texas high school football, Matt Stepp. The ultimate Texas high school insider for Dave Campbell's Texas football is with us. Matt, you travel around each weekend to a number of games. You're in town for tonight's Howe and Tioga game. How'd this one come up on your radar?
First off, thanks for having me, Monty. Appreciate it. I'm fired up for tonight's game. Really, my schedule is, when I put my schedule together, it's a little bit of a unique combination of games and teams I've never seen in person before, trying to see new stadiums, also trying to see good competitive games, and then also going to places where I can maybe catch multiple games on a Saturday, that kind of thing. So this one came up partly because the two teams involved, I've never seen them in person before. I've never done a game at Howe Stadium before. And then I'm also good buddies with Chad Rogers and known him for a long time. And I promised him when he got the Tioga job that I would get to a Tioga game as quick as I could. And so figured I'd make that happen this year because I guess we're going into year 3 with Coach Rogers at Tioga. So I better catch a Tioga game before he disowns me as one of his honorary sons.
Now, your addiction to high school football began at Kyle Field in 2001, the 3A state title game when your Everman Bulldogs beat Stinton. Did you ever think at that moment you'd end up doing what you're doing right now?
Well, I mean, I've always loved high school football. It was one of the things that me and my dad, when I was a kid, that we did together. Because we couldn't afford to go to TCU games or Dallas Cowboy games, we could afford to go watch the Everman Bulldogs on Friday night. So it probably started before then, but I think that day at Kyle Field, I realized that maybe even though I don't have a background in journalism and didn't go to J school or anything like that, that maybe I could find a way to make a little bit of extra money on the side doing this. And I think that was the day that really happened. Obviously, I was super fired up that my alma mater won the state championship, but leading up to that, all the things, talking about it on the internet, people kind of took what I said, and I guess I felt like they knew what I was talking about, so I felt like at that point I could maybe make it into something a little bit bigger. To answer your question, but I never thought I would work for Dave Campbell's. I've always loved Dave Campbell's, and it's always been a goal to work for Dave Campbell's. So, but I don't think at that point I ever thought that Dave Campbell's would have any interest in hiring the likes of me.
Well, breaking coaching changes in the offseason has become one of your calling cards. How hard is it to be on top of all those things in the offseason like that?
It's tough because, my wife is like, it's not football season anymore. What are you doing? And so, trying to have a balance between keeping up with things and keeping a happy household and a happy wife, it can be a challenge sometimes. And just, Texas is a huge state. There's, just in the UIL 11-man football, there's almost 1,100 schools that play football, and routinely 200 of them change coaches every year. So it can be a challenge, but I've built up a great network of sources and figured out ways to get information, and there's a lot of information right at your fingertips on the internet if you just know where to look and know where to lift up those rocks and uncover those stones. But it's not easy. I don't want to say that, but I mean, over the years I've kind of developed a system, and it's helped me kind of be a little more efficient in covering the entire state.
Now, you touched on it earlier a little bit. You have a special relationship with a lot of high school coaches, one of those being Chad Rogers of Tioga. Talk about Coach Rogers and your Everman-Snyder connection.
So, yeah, Everman and Snyder played in the playoffs when Coach Rogers was an assistant back in, I want to say it was 1999, I want to say. And this is when Sonny Cumbie was the quarterback for Snyder. They played Everman in the first round of the playoffs there at Stephenville. Everman rolled to an easy win that day, but Coach Rogers and I exchanged some friendly banter. I didn't know Coach Rogers was a coach at the time. We exchanged some friendly banter and had been kind of known each other on the internet for a while. And then when Coach Rogers was at Snyder, I actually he was trying to get Snyder involved in 7-on-7 and playing in tournaments and that kind of thing. And he reached out to me because he knew I was a guy who covered a lot of 7-on-7 and knew how to kind of help them get started. And so I helped him kind of get that off the ground there in Snyder, and eventually got them into a tournament, got them to host their own tournament in Snyder. And actually, he had me run the tournament for a few years. I'd go out to Snyder every year and run their tournament for him. So me and Coach Rogers go way back. He's a great man. His wife's she's a beautiful lady. She's a sweetest person in the world. His son and daughter are great, and those son's a coach now, and so it's a great family, great people, and I love them to death.
What do you expect to see from this matchup tonight between the Howe Bulldogs and the Tioga Bulldogs?
I think it's going to, as my colleague Greg Tepper would say, I think it's going to be pointsy. I think both offenses are very potent and very powerful. I think there's going to be a lot of points. I think it's going to be an exciting game. I think Howe's probably got the advantage up front. That's where I think their big edge is going to be. I think they can maybe wear down Tioga a little bit. Tioga's got a couple key injuries that they're dealing with right now, and they're a little bit smaller school for now. And that Tioga is growing like crazy. But I mean, right now Howe's a bigger school, and I think they're going to be bigger up front, and they're going to have a little more depth, and I think they may wear down Tioga. But I think it's going to be a very pointsy game. First 1 to 40 may win this one.
So I'll give you a chance to do what you do, and that's promote Texas high school football and the greatness that it is.
Yeah, so, all of our stuff there at Dade Campbell's can be found at texasfootball.com. We have college football, high school coverage on there. We have a subscription package. If you want to get your magazine mailed to you before it hits newsstands, you can do that. We got lots of amazing podcasts, not just Tep and Stepp, but we have a podcast on every day at noon. Texas Football Today. We have college basketball podcasts. We have 2 college football podcasts, Republican football and the small school college preview, kind of previewing the small colleges. And we have Women Talking Football with Ashley Fickle and Mallory Hartley, which is kind of a fusion of college and college and high school ball. And then, all of our social media accounts. We do a lot of great stuff on Twitter as well. My Twitter is Matt _Stepp 817, and that's Matt with 2 T's, Stepp with 2 P's, 817. And then we've got the Friday Night app, which I know has been a little buggy the first couple weeks of the season, but we've gotten the kinks worked out, and I think it's working a lot better. And so you can get all your scores on Friday nights from the app. So we got a lot going on. We're really busy there at Dade Campbell's Texas Football, and there's nothing better than being busy during football season.
That is Matt Stepp, the ultimate Texas high school insider for Dade Campbell's Texas Football.
Austin Haley's coming to the sidelines.
Oh, no. Let's hope Haley's okay. Caroline, can you get the mic in there?
Coach, I'm starving. I can't keep going.
But you're the starting quarterback.
Coach, I can't help it. I need something quick.
Hang on. Doreen, quick. Go to Sonic, get a burger, tots, and a shake.
Make it an M&M blast.
Doreen, make that an M&M blast. Large.
Coach, I'm sorry, but Sonic with Howe is where you get great food and big smiles. It's not just good.
I know, it's Sonic good. Hang on, Doreen, bring me some onion rings. Those things really bring the hammer down.
You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party. Today's Howe Bulldogs Flux Capacitor is brought to you by Quick Check Convenience Stores. Now let's join Monty Walker with a time travel through Bulldogs history.
The Howe Bulldogs are 4-5 on games played on September the 16th. The first game on this date took place in 1966 when Howe won at Bells 6-2 in one of the lowest scoring games in school history. Howe's Gary Gray scored the lone touchdown of the game. In 1977, Howe was blanked by Whitesboro 18-0. And in 1983, defeated Salina 12-6 behind Randy Gear's 109 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. In 1988, Howe won at Callisburg 14-7 when Rob Bowes scored from 8 yards out to secure the win. In 1994, Howe was blanked by Cooper 21-0 and lost in 1999 20-12 to Pilot Point. The Dogs lost a barn burner in Wolf City in 2011 on this date, 26-25, and beat Quinlan 44-16 in 2016. 1 year ago on this date, Howe might have hit rock bottom as a program when the Dogs lost to Weatherford Christian 27-20. Howe's first ever opponent was at Tioga, where the Bulldogs were shut out 12-0. Both of Tioga's touchdowns came through the air. Since that initial meeting, Howe won 11 straight through 1948, but the two teams with the Bulldog mascot never played again. Howe's football program stopped after the 1948 season, and somewhere after, so did Tioga. The last points Tioga scored on Howe was by Nolan Adkins in 1946 when he blocked a Bulldog punt and ran it back for a score. It was one of the only two district touchdowns allowed by a district opponent of Howe all season.
Today's Howe Bulldogs Flux Capacitor is brought to you by Quick Check Convenience Stores.
Quick Check Convenience Stores, moving small towns forward. Family owned and operated in North Texas since 1977.
You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party.
Here's some things to never mess with if you're not a trained professional. Caging a bulldog. Removing copperheads. And electricity. Don't get shocked. Call Rapid Electric. Rapid Electric is here for all your electrical needs. Just like you wouldn't try to become a pro boxer or president. Not a joke. You need a pro to keep your electricity humming. Don't get shocked. Rapid Electric serves the Grayson County area. Call them at 903-421-8100. Baker Air Conditioning and Heating has been in business in Howe for over 50 years. They even predate the volleyball program and the marching band. Norman Dickey was the new coach when they opened up. Baker Air Conditioning and Heating has been able to serve the good people of Howe and surrounding areas because, well, they're good people. If you've been told you need expensive repairs, get a second opinion with Baker Air Conditioning and Heating. Call 903-532-6255 or see them at 215 Denny Street. Baker Air Conditioning and Heating.
From Studio 42 on HoweEnterprise.com, this is Howe Bulldogs Football. Today's scene setter is brought to you by Baker Air Conditioning and Heating, proud partner of Bulldogs Athletics.
It was September 20th, 1935. The Howe Bulldogs crawled onto a flatbed truck on Denny Street and traveled west for the first ever game in school history. That game was with the Tioga Bulldogs. The Dogs lost that initial game, but pocketed the next 11 before the two schools never met again. The last time these two teams met, Harry Truman was president, and no one had ever heard of Elvis Presley. But the renewal of the Clash of the Bulldogs is renewed in 22.
And here's Rattler getting the hand on the right side. He's at the 5, he's at the 4, he pushes over his way into the end zone. It's touchdown time in Texas.
Homecoming brings kings and queens, garters and mums, but it's also Howe's 150th birthday with a week full of fun.
Knocks over a defender down at the 5-yard line. Colin Murphy is in the Murphy zone.
Texas high school football's godfather is in town, perhaps to place the Bulldog crown. It's dog versus dog. It's the Howe Bulldogs and the Tioga Bulldogs. Here we go, live from the oldest active stadium in North Texas. This is Bulldogs football.
Today's scene setter is brought to you by Baker Air Conditioning and Heating, proud partner of Bulldogs Athletics. You're listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party. From Studio 42 on HoweEnterprise.com, this is Howe Bulldogs Football. You've been listening to the Rapid Electric Tailgate Party. Football time in Texas is just moments away. Now, with the call of the game, here's the voice of the Howe Bulldogs, Monty Walker.